Scorpio, tonight marks the end of a hidden spiritual attack that has quietly shaped your struggles and the beginning of your liberation. You didn't imagine it. A woman in your life, one who once wore the mask of kindness, has been working silently against you. Her influence, though veiled in charm, has brought confusion, disruption, and emotional weight to your path. But that ends tonight. The universe and the hand of God are intervening to remove her from your energetic space, completely and permanently. If your soul has been restless lately, unable to fully explain why things feel off, this message is not a coincidence. It's an answer. Scorpio, your intuition is your superpower. You don't just sense lies, you feel them vibrating in your bones. You don't need loud evidence or dramatic confrontations. You know when energy shifts, even in silence. And your soul has led you here to Miracle of the Sign for a reason. You are being prepared for a spiritual release. This moment is sacred. You've been holding on longer than most would. You've tried to make peace where there was poison, tried to keep things together while someone close to you quietly worked against your foundation. Maybe it showed up in sudden financial blocks, in emotional exhaustion, in dreams that felt heavy and unsettling. Maybe you thought it was just stress, or that you were overthinking. But you weren't. Tonight, under the transformative influence of Pluto, your ruling planet, and the spiritual vibration of the number 9, which signals completion, the cycle of silent sabotage comes to an end. What once operated in secret will now be pulled into the light, not through confrontation, but through divine orchestration. You will not need to expose her. God will. The universe already has the next moves in motion. Here at Miracle of the Sign, we do more than read the stars. We listen for what heaven is whispering. We align not only with the cosmic but with the sacred. This space is built to hold revelations like this, truths that reach into your spirit and speak to the exact season you're living. Now, Scorpio, let me take a quiet moment to say thank you. Thank you for showing up, for listening deeply, and for walking this spiritual path with courage. Every time you like, comment, or share these messages, you bring more light to this space. Every time you subscribe, you join a growing family rooted in transformation, faith, and divine clarity. Your presence here doesn't just support this channel, it fuels its mission. So yes, thank you from the deepest part of my heart. And believe me when I say what is coming in this video will not just surprise you, it may shift your entire perspective. But first, I want to hear from you. Have you felt the presence of someone trying to dim your light lately? Have you sensed the subtle resistance, even when nothing seemed obvious? If so, you're not alone and your spirit knows the truth. Take a moment now to comment below and say, I feel it. I know what this is. Your words don't just confirm the message, they activate the energy. So speak them boldly. Stay with me, Scorpio. We're just getting started. What's about to be revealed will bring more than closure. It will bring peace. Real peace, the kind that only comes when God Himself steps in. Let's begin. Scorpio, you've always had a rare and sacred gift, the kind that doesn't shout but whispers in moments others overlook. That quiet chill in a conversation, the sudden change in someone's tone, or the heaviness in a room when someone walks in, these aren't coincidences. They are messages. And you, unlike many, have the soul sensitivity to receive them. You've likely learned by now that the truth rarely arrives with fireworks. It comes as a flicker in your chest, a turning in your gut, a moment where your body recognizes what your mind hasn't yet processed. This isn't anxiety. It's not paranoia. It's your intuition, and more than that, it's your spiritual radar. Governed by Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth, you were born with a built-in compass that doesn't just point north, it points to what's hidden. Your intuition doesn't need evidence, because it already understands energy. And Scorpio, when your intuition flares, it's often because something in the unseen world is shifting around you. Many people try to silence this voice. They second-guess themselves, or worse, let others talk them out of what they feel. But you, deep, instinctual, and emotionally perceptive, are different. You've walked into situations that looked fine on the outside but felt wrong, and later learned that your first sense was right all along. You've met people who smiled with their mouths but not with their energy. You've sensed betrayal long before it was proven. And this is not only a strength, it's a sacred form of protection. In astrology, Pluto is not a gentle teacher. It doesn't soot height transforms. And for those under its rule, like you, truth is not optional. It's essential. This is why you feel discomfort when something's out of alignment. It's your soul calling you back to spiritual integrity. When something or someone is not for you, you feel it not just emotionally, but vibrationally. That third eye of yours? It doesn't just see what's ahead. It sees what's underneath. And right now, it's why you're here. Because something in your energetic field has been trying to get your attention. Perhaps it was a strange dream that lingered in the morning. Perhaps it was a repeated symbol or phrase that wouldn't leave your mind. Maybe it was just the way someone looked at you and suddenly, your entire nervous system was on high alert. You are not crazy. You are not imagining it. You are remembering your own sensitivity. You are awakening again to your divine discernment. And this is the moment to trust it not just as a feeling, but as divine instruction. One beautiful way to honor this gift is to start writing down your intuitive hits. Keep a journal, not for logic but for soul memory. Write down every dream, every strange gut feeling, every moment when your body speaks louder than words. Over time, you'll see patterns. And those patterns will become proof. Proof that you've always known, even when you couldn't explain how. We live in a world that rewards noise. But you, Scorpio, thrive in the silence beneath it. Your power lies in noticing what others miss. And tonight, as the universe begins to move things into place, that very intuition, the one you've doubted, dismissed, or overlooked, will become your greatest ally. So I ask you, as we move forward together, have you ever felt something was off before it was confirmed? Have you ever heard the whisper before the crash? If yes, you're not alone. You're in alignment. Feel free to share in the comments. I knew it before I saw it. I just didn't trust myself. This is your space to reclaim your insight. And this time you won't ignore it. Let's keep going. There are moments in life, Scorpio, when the truth doesn't arrive with thunder, it arrives in a whisper. A single sentence spoken too quickly. A sideways glance that lasts just a second too long. A quiet tension that suddenly fills the room like fog. You know those moments. You felt them before. And you're likely feeling one right now. This is not paranoia, nor is it overthinking. It is the arrival of truth through the language your spirit knows best, energy. That's how truth shows itself to those who are spiritually aware, emotionally awake, and attuned to the rhythm beneath the noise. What's unfolding for you is not an external confrontation, but an internal revelation. You are not being asked to expose someone. You are being guided to stand still long enough for the truth to expose itself. In the great cycles of the universe, some truths are delivered not with a battle, but with clarity so undeniable that it dismantles the lie by its very presence. This is the energy that surrounds you now, one of silent but certain unveiling. In astrology, this experience aligns with the vibration of the High Priestess in the Tarot. She is the keeper of sacred knowledge, the guardian of mysteries, and the embodiment of stillness that sees everything. She speaks through symbols, dreams, instincts, and knowing. Her message is simple but profound: wait, observe, trust. Not all battles require you to draw your sword. Some require you to hold your ground until deception falls apart on its own. This is exactly where you are right now. You don't need to chase proof. The universe is already working in your favor, arranging details behind the scenes. Someone's mask is slipping. The energy they've projected outward, pretending, controlling, manipulating, just now circling back toward them. And when that energy returns, it takes with it the illusion they've built. Your role is not to interfere. It's to remain grounded in your peace and open in your awareness. If you've been holding on to a growing suspicion but haven't been able to fully explain it, try this gentle practice tonight. Write down what your heart has sensed, even if you have no evidence. Write it clearly, honestly, and with no filter. Place that note under a glass of water by your bedside. As you sleep, allow your subconscious to open. When you wake, pay attention to your dreams, to your body, to your emotions, and even to what you hear on the radio or in casual conversation. You may be surprised at how quickly truth begins to ripple through your reality. Not loudly, but precisely. This is the power of alignment. When you are spiritually aligned, you no longer need to chase confirmation. It finds you. And Scorpio, because of your deeply intuitive nature, your confirmation is already en route. All that is required of you now is patience and stillness. You've already done the hardest part, trusting yourself enough to know something wasn't right. Now, allow that knowing to complete its arc. The truth is not something you have to demand. It is something that rises, with or without your permission, at exactly the moment it is meant to. And if you've ever lived through a moment where the truth revealed itself without effort, without evidence, without needing you to search for itly to discover later that your soul had been right all along, then let that memory be your validation. You are not imagining this. You are remembering. If this resonates with you, I invite you to comment below and write, "The truth always finds me, right on time." Your voice matters. And when you speak your truth even in quiet ways, you give it the space to expand and find others who need it too. Let's keep going. The next part of this story is already unfolding. The energy we give to the world through thought, emotion, intention, or action never simply disappears. It moves in quiet, persistent circles. It flows outward, and then returns, like waves drawn back into the ocean. This isn't just poetic language. It's a principle woven into the laws of the universe. And for you, Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, the planet of destruction, renewal, and deep karmic reckoning. This truth is more than symbolic. It's lived. It's experienced. You've seen firsthand how energy cannot be faked, masked, or contained. So when someone in your life attempts to distort truth, manipulate outcomes, or harm from the shadows, you may not respond outwardly, but your soul always notices. And the universe does too. The woman whose influence once felt immovable, even invincible, is now beginning to unravel. Not because you confronted her, not because you wished her harm, but because the energy she sowed was never sustainable. The law of cause and effect, known in spiritual circles as karma or the law of return, does not sleep. It doesn't punish. It simply reflects. Every intention carries a frequency, and that frequency eventually echoes back to its source. When those intentions are rooted in control, jealousy, or deceit, they may gain temporary traction, but eventually, they collapse under their own weight. In numerology, this process is reflected in the number 16, a karmic vibration tied to collapse, awakening, and forced truth. In tarot, the number 16 belongs to the Tower card, a symbol of sudden disruption, yes, but also sacred dismantling. The Tower doesn't fall to hurt you. It falls because what it held was built on illusion. And in this season, that tower is not yours, it is hers. The scaffolding of deception she's relied on, the emotional manipulation, the energy harvesting, it's all beginning to crumble. And with that crumbling comes something rare: clarity. You don't have to do anything but step back and observe what the universe is now correcting. This is not a moment for retaliation. In fact, Scorpio, your greatest power lies in not interfering. Just as nature doesn't beg the leaves to fall, they fall when the season demands it. You are being asked to trust that this, too, is a matter of timing. Your healing comes through surrender. Not passive surrender, but active release. There's a difference. Retaliation binds you to the cycle. But release? That sets you free. If this speaks to you, consider the simple ritual of saltwater, one of the oldest forms of energetic purification. Fill a basin with warm water, dissolve sea salt or pink Himalayan salt into it, and as you wash, speak these words gently over yourself: I do not carry revenge. I release all burden. I trust the universe to handle what I cannot. This isn't about removing pain in one instant, it's about shifting how you hold it. Making space for peace where bitterness once lived. That space becomes your protection. You've likely heard the phrase, you reap what you sow. From a cosmic perspective, this isn't punishment, it's alignment. And while the consequences may not come on your timeline, they always come. The woman who sowed harm in secret is now walking into her own harvest. It is not your job to watch her fall. It is your invitation to rise. If you've already learned this, if you've already handed your pain over, if you've said, I no longer carry this alone, then speak it again as a declaration. Comment below and say, I release it. I trust the return. Not just as words, but as a commitment to your own peace. Stay with me, Scorpio. There's more truth still rising. When everything around you feels uncertain, Scorpio, what you often forget is how powerfully protected you already are. Not through loud defenses or visible shields, but through something far more profound, a subtle, yet unbreakable energy field that surrounds you like a second skin. This is not superstition. This is the natural response of the universe to a soul who has been pushed too close to the edge for too long. What you're experiencing right now isn't just a turning point, it's a spiritual recalibration. And part of that recalibration is the quiet, relentless protection that wraps itself around you without you needing to ask. You may not see it, but it's there. In the moments when you walk into a room and feel a sudden sense of peace after days of chaos. In the way your body instinctively tenses around certain people, warning you before your mind even catches up. In the dreams that deliver comfort in the exact moment you feel like giving up. These are not coincidences. They are evidence that your energetic space is being cleansed and guarded, even in ways you can't explain. Astrologically, you're walking through a corridor ruled by Pluto's intensity, but what most forget is that Pluto doesn't only destroy what's toxic. It also protects what is sacred. When Pluto removes, it also seals. And what it seals, it shields fiercely. That's what's happening to you right now. The betrayals, the disappointments, the weight of being misunderstood, these weren't random. They were the universe clearing out what could no longer be allowed near your light. And now, that light is rising again. Stronger, sharper, and divinely protected. In the tarot, the Tower reversed is often misunderstood as disaster averted, but it goes deeper. It symbolizes spiritual insulation. A divine buffer that prevents what was meant to break you from reaching your core. You may still feel the tremors of old wounds, but the collapse has passed. You survived it. What you're experiencing now is the stillness after the storm, the pause where protection moves silently through the rubble, reinforcing your foundation with clarity and calm. And while the cosmos does its part, so must you. This is the time to anchor yourself in intention. One beautiful way to participate in your own protection is to create a ritual of remembrance. Light a white candle in a quiet room. As the flame flickers, speak louder within these words: I am protected. I am reborn. I am worthy of real light. Let that flame carry your intention upward and outward. Let it signal to the universe that you are open, but no longer vulnerable. Soft, but no longer exposed. Healed, and no longer hunted. Colors speak too. Today, surround yourself with white for cleansing, purple for spiritual strength, and green for healing and recovery. You might notice one of these colors showing up repeatedly in your clothes, your surroundings, or even in subtle signs on your feed. Pay attention. These are not aesthetic coincidences. They're signals that your energetic environment is aligning with your inner truth. If you've been noticing a particular color today more than usual, don't ignore it. Take it as confirmation that you're being watched over, not by eyes of judgment, but by forces that have always been with you, quiet, faithful, and unwavering. Let this be your next point of connection. Share with me in the comments, what color have you been seeing today? Because sometimes, the way the universe speaks is in light. And right now, it's speaking to you. Keep listening. Keep receiving. The shield around you is real. Let's walk in that light together. You may not realize it yet, Scorpio, but something shifted the moment you stopped holding on to what was never meant to stay. In the silence that followed the storm, a new rhythm has begun, subtle, yes, but steady. This isn't just the closing of a chapter, it's the rebirth of your entire energetic state. And while the past may still linger in your memory, it no longer holds the same power over your path. The weight you carried, often without words, without explanation, is now dissolving like mist beneath the morning sun. This is the beginning of your next season. A cycle that doesn't carry the residue of betrayal or uncertainty, but one that is built on clarity, ease, and spiritual alignment. The fatigue you once couldn't explain, the heaviness that followed you like a shadow is starting to lift. That alone is a sign. A signal that your soul has been quietly processing all the unseen battles and has now made room for peace to take its place. In this new cycle, your relationship with work and finances begins to shift. Opportunities feel more aligned. Decisions feel lighter. The confusion that used to cloud your direction is clearing. Energetically, it's as if your internal compass has been recalibrated. The interference is gone. What remains is a clean frequency, one that pulls toward abundance rather than repelling it. You may also notice certain relationships becoming clearer. The ones that used to feel uncertain or emotionally draining will either deepen with authenticity or dissolve without conflict. This is the natural separation of aligned energy from misaligned connection. You don't need to force it. The truth of who belongs in your next season will make itself known through the way your body feels around them, light or heavy, safe or unsettled. Trust that. The presence of the number 9 is no accident in this moment. In numerology, 9 represents endings that give birth to something higher. It carries the vibration of spiritual closure, the soul's readiness to release what no longer resonates. Over the next 72 hours, pay attention to this number. You may see it on clocks, receipts, license plates, or in random places that seem oddly precise. Every time you do, let it serve as a sacred reminder: the old weight is gone. You are being guided into something freer, simpler, more true to your essence. One way to gently anchor yourself into this new beginning is to start your next morning intentionally. Warm a glass of water and drink it slowly, with presence. Let that warmth symbolize your new inner softness. Then sit in stillness, even if just for 3 minutes, and say aloud or within, "I have walked through darkness. Now, I welcome light." Let this affirmation echo through your breath. Let it settle in your bones. Let it tell the universe that you are not just ready, you are already stepping forward. And Scorpio, if these words speak to a truth you've been quietly carrying, I invite you to make it known. Speak it aloud. Write it into existence. Comment below and say, "I no longer carry the old weight." Because saying it makes it real. It marks the transition. It allows your body, your mind, and your spirit to finally exhale. This is your turning point. And it didn't require fireworks. It simply required that you keep walking. And now look at you. Lighter. Clearer. Ready. Let's keep moving forward together. There's more waiting for you on the other side of this breath. Scorpio, she may have had power, but you have the light. And no shadow ever survives the rising of light. You are not the same as you were before this message began. Something in you has shifted, even if quietly. And that shift matters. Because what you've been walking through wasn't just a challenge, it was a divine preparation. The moment you stopped trying to fight what was out of your control, the universe began to move on your behalf. You were never meant to carry all that weight alone. And now, you're not. What happened to you wasn't the end, it was the fire that softened your edges and shaped you into something even more refined. You are the phoenix, Scorpio. Burned, perhaps, but never broken. In fact, reborn in flames so radiant, the past can't even recognize who you're becoming. You are not rising in spite of the pain. You are rising because of the wisdom it gave you. And here's the truth. The woman who tried to unravel your foundation underestimated one powerful truth: what is built on light cannot be destroyed by darkness. Yes, her actions carried weight. But your soul carries light. And light never begs to be seen. It simply shines. And eventually, everything else must adjust to its brilliance. So now, I ask you to pause and reflect. Not on what went wrong, but on what's beginning to go right. Can you feel it? The loosening of burdens that were never yours to carry? The softening of spaces in your heart where walls used to be? The quiet clarity that tells you, you made it through? Take a breath and ask yourself, what are you no longer willing to carry into this next chapter of your life? What are you finally ready to release? And if deep down you feel the resonance of freedom, if something in your spirit has been saying, yes, this is for me, then let the universe hear you. Comment below and write, I am released. I am ready for my new destiny. Because your words matter. Your intention matters. And when you declare your readiness, you activate it in ways that ripple far beyond this moment. Thank you for being here, truly. For spending this sacred time with me, for choosing this message, and for letting Miracle of the Sign be a part of your healing and transformation. Every like, every comment, every time you share this video with someone who might need it, it deepens the energy of this space. You help us plant seeds of awareness, healing, and soul wisdom across this world. So if this message touched something inside of you, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Miracle of the Sign, and share it with someone you know needs this message today. Not because they're broken, but because they're ready to rise. Your journey is sacred. Your light is real. And your new chapter is already here. Let's walk into it together.